Hey everyone, it's Saturday, October 14th, 2017, and it's time to go to work on music. Today has been really sensationally good, and I'm in a really good place, and I just want to take a moment for myself just to document this. Um, I'm happy. I'm in a really good place in my life, and there's been a lot of effort going into a lot of different areas simultaneously, and I want to keep focusing on doing everything I can the best I can and refining my process over and over again, like I talked about in the last video. And it's also nice to step back a little bit and look at the results and just say, like, wow, like this is really coming together. This goes beyond music. But I'll give you an example. Today I'm doing a night session because earlier I drove out to Larkspur, which is a beautiful, beautiful little town in Marin, and saw the premiere of the Joe Satriani documentary that ZZ Satriani, his son, made about his last tour, which is just such an amazing opportunity, man. Just being there, just living in a place where I have enough physical proximity to something like that I can just go. I can just get in my car and drive there. Is first of all amazing, and then the weather was just incredible. We had some of the smoke from the fires in Northern California blow over today, and you could actually breathe the air. So just having clean air is amazing. But the weather was just incredible, and I just got my beautiful car and my beautiful partner in crime with me, and just a beautiful day. And the scenery up there is just spectacular. If you guys have never been to that part of Northern California, the North Bay, just north of San Francisco, it's just really something else. Coming across the San Rafael Bridge, it just gets me every time. And then to be there with like the whole Satriani family, just taking in this really, really beautifully done documentary. I even had a chance to just say quickly to ZZ on my way out. I bumped into him, and I just thought, that was just really, really well done. And who knows what the artist thinks about that stuff? The artist as the creative person is like, oh crap, what are they going to think? Or like, wow, I had to shortchange this part, but this part was good, or this part came out better than I thought. Or you watch it 3 times on 3 different days, you feel like you're the best in the world one day, and then you're terrible and you have no business doing it the next day. Like, a lot of people are like that. Some people aren't. I guess some people just think they're amazing all the time. I don't know. I don't know any of those people personally, but some people make it seem like that. You never know. But it was just so beautifully done, and it was such an intimate atmosphere. Joe was there watching the movie, like a few seats away from me, maybe like 8-10 seats away from, not more than 20 feet. And I've been exceptionally lucky to interact with Joe quite a bit for like the typical fan. I don't do the VIP meet and greets or anything at his shows, but I've gone to his guitar camps a couple times and was personally introduced to him just through a pretty crazy random connection once years ago, and he was just super, super nice. And I just feel so lucky. I just feel so blessed to be in this position and have these opportunities, and to also be able to enjoy them, to be able to look at them and just really soak up the experience and appreciate them, and just having that attitude of gratitude. Maybe not everything in your life is perfect, but it's almost certain that at least some things are really good, and you have things to be thankful for. And it's amazing how much happiness is our own responsibility sometimes, and just focusing on those things and really being like, wow, this is great, this is really working out, and yeah, there's these other things I'm working on, and that's okay. It's okay for not all of it to be perfect all the time. I just don't know if anyone's life is that way. It's a constant thing. But today was really, really good, and it's nice to step back and just soak up the vibes, I guess, for lack of a better expression. But the film was fantastically done. The editing was amazing. I can't wait to see it 100 more times whenever they release it, either online or on DVD. I don't know. But yeah, glowing review for sure. 10 out of 10. It was great, and being a big fan of Joe and his music, who's going to capture it like your kid? They said they had this little Q&A afterwards, which was really nice, and they just talked about how when it's your kid with the camera, you kind of just have to be yourself. You can't like put on the mask of, oh, here, I'm James, I'm your videographer for the day or something. You never met the guy, and he's like sticking the camera in your face, and it's kind of like, get out of my face. That's what Joe said. But when it's your kid, it's just like, oh, cool, it's part of the family, you know. And they really brought you into that experience with the film and with the premiere itself. Just being in this little theater, there couldn't have been more than like 150, couple hundred people in there. It might have been like less, it might have been like 100 or 80 or something like that. But it was just perfect, and it was just one of those moments where everything came together. You know, like I got a parking spot across the street right in front of the theater, just walked right in. I mean, you know, it's those moments where you just tap into something. It's crazy, and the musical space for some reason has always been a space for me personally where things sometimes just have a way of you tap into a wave or a flow, and it's just like wow, it's a little awe-inspiring, honestly. So, yeah, and plus, you know, the music and just experiencing Joe's playing and watching the film of it, and you're just like, damn, like, it's cool seeing behind the scenes, but, like, it's pretty cool watching, like, the best of the best do his thing. You know, the best of the best of the best doing his thing. It's just pretty spectacular, man. So, yeah, just a wonderful inspiration and a wonderful human being. And I'm just so lucky to share that experience with him and his family. It was just a really beautiful moment of life, guys. Came back. I'm back home now, and it's time to get to work. Time to take that inspiration and channel it where it matters most, putting in the time. So, you know, the main thing, my takeaway from the movie, I'll just share. Watching that stuff is repertoire. That's the main thing I think for me for guitar right now is repertoire building, learning tons and tons of songs, tons and tons of music, trying to get through like as much of the rock canon as I possibly can. So that's obviously a longer term project, but when I look at players like Joe and I listen to their advice, you know, a big thing that he says is like, hey, if you're going to have that technical element in your practice, like don't, you know, if you're lucky to practice more than 45 minutes a day, which you are, you know, you're just lucky if you have that kind of time to do that. You know, don't spend more than 45 minutes on that stuff. You know, that stuff's great, work on it, but spend the rest of your time learning music, actual music, people you like or things you're interested in, and then playing with other musicians and performing. You know, to make music. Like he's like, that's your job. You know, people aren't going to pay you to get up on stage and do a bunch of exercises. And maybe some artists do get paid to do that, clinicians, things like that. But usually it's because they're making great music first, and then you go to the clinic because you're like, dang, I want to make music like this person. Can you break it down for me? You know, but not always. So, for you know, I don't know if I'm ever going to be a clinician type player. I mean, that would be amazing. That'd be a dream come true to be at that level where people actually care about how I'm doing things. And I'll just, you know, enjoy sharing what I can in the meantime. But you know, I guess presumably someone out there cares, or you guys wouldn't be watching this. But well, that's not even a fair assumption. Maybe you're watching for other reasons. But anyway, I aspire, you know, to play at that level, and it's always great to see inspiration and just be confronted with that. It's such a beautiful thing. It can be overwhelming as an artist, you know, confronting the isolation of being a musician and the fact that your mind may never let you believe that you're any good at it or that you'll ever reach the level of your heroes or your icons, and to be like, you know what, we should still do this anyway. It takes a tremendous amount of courage. I just shout out to everyone out there who's just chasing your dreams, you know, even in the face of fear. I just really believe in that as a process, and I just support you guys 1,000,000,000%. 1,000,000,000%. Just do it. Just do it. Don't think about it. Just make it happen. And yeah, it was just really awesome, and it's so unique to have the opportunity to be in the same room with your idol, you know. Like Joe Hendrix was his idol, the reason he started playing guitar, and to my knowledge, he never met Jimi Hendrix. You know, the day Jimi Hendrix died was the day he was like, okay, now I'm gonna be a guitarist. You know, this is my day. And for me, coming at it from, you know, the next sort of level down of just like hearing Sash records and just being like, man, like nothing makes me want to play the guitar and get good at playing the guitar more than listening to Joe Satriani play the guitar, and just be able to actually be alive at the same time and share in his process and understand, get behind the scenes, see a documentary on his life that is made, you know, with his cooperation, not posthumously like many Hendrix documentaries. Just a really special experience. So thank you, Joe Satriani. Thank you, ZZ Satriani. Thank you to the whole Satriani family for inviting us, the public, basically, into you know, what is a very personal moment for you as a family, and letting us come to the premiere. You know, it was just doesn't go unappreciated. So anyway, what am I going to do today? Back to business. So I'm going to hit some online classes. I'll update you guys with what I'm doing there. I'm going to hit a quick guitar practice and try to share as much as I can. And then just going to hit the production front. That's kind of my MO right now, trying to get this record done, and probably listen back to a little bit of what I was doing a couple days ago. I have a feeling it's good, but maybe not good enough, which sucks because listening back to it through the camera I was using to record the vocals, they sound really great, but then on the track I don't know if it's sitting quite where I want it to. I'm just going to listen back before I judge it, and then I'm going to make a judgment call about whether I want to work on the guitar solo more, and if I do, whether I want to do that today, whether I want to work on the vocals more, and if I do, whether I want to do that today or not. And then today might just be the day to try to get it on the drum front a little bit, but it sucks because certain parts of this song are kind of linear, where it's like if one piece isn't done, I can't really fairly move on to the next piece because they're going to be interacting, and I don't want to track the drums over a guitar solo I'm not actually going to use, and then have to come back and track the guitar solo to sync up with the drums. So, you know, this is just a byproduct of me working in this linear way. I either need to move on to the next track or just sit down and knock this stuff out and just get it finished and check the box. And I worked on that solo for months. And you know, it just might still not be there. I just got to accept that, and that's kind of a tough pill to swallow right now, guys, but that's where I am. So appreciate you guys for tuning in as always. Sorry for the long intro. Hopefully you guys got something out of that, and maybe I'll keep the wrap up of this video short, but let's go to work. All right, good session overall. Definitely, you know, could have been a little more focused, but like I was saying last week on Saturday, I think I'm just going to come to accept that I'm still getting in the groove of this new sort of rhythm, and I think it might take me a little while to adjust to just having a full day off and then coming back and hitting it hard on Saturdays, but I think I'm getting there after 3 weeks or so of this new schedule. First of all, I'm just happier than ever, like I was mentioning at the beginning of this video, so that's a good sign, but I think I'm starting to get used to the flow and the rhythm, and I think I'm adjusting. So I got it on the online class front, spent quite a while just finishing up this class. I'm finally to the last module, and then there's some bonus content, so I'm excited. I'm very hopeful I'm going to be able to get through everything sort of in my first pass by October 22nd, I think, which is when my membership expires. And I have all the stuff downloaded, so I'm going to go back through the class a second time and build things up from the ground up. I just feel that going through a second time is going to just allow me to have the big picture in mind and know where I'm going as I start to do all the little bits and pieces, which I didn't feel I had that vision before. So this is going to be valuable, I think. Most of the video today was talking about digital fan clubs again. And it's fascinating, you know. That's definitely ahead of where I am right now, and I'm not totally sure how I feel about that. But you know, like I was talking about in the last video, it's all just about how creative you can be, and just being willing to provide what people think is cool or valuable. And maybe different parts of my future, you know, fan base will really dig that, where other parts won't. And those parts that don't, maybe they'll like something else that I'm doing, and so I'll still be able to give people what they want and need from me without compromising, which would be nice. So the more you know, you know, the more options you have, and that's rarely a bad thing. So that was great, and I'm excited to dive into the specifics of Facebook ads, and that's kind of what's up next on the horizon there. Then I got into a quick guitar practice. I didn't have a ton of time, so I just reviewed some of the riffs I'm working on in Trop D. That was productive, moved them up a couple BPM, just, you know, there's a time and a place to get out of that sort of superficial progress of just like, well, I'm 5 BPM faster, therefore I must be a better guitarist today. And there's a time and a place to get far away from that and just go into the deeper, more subtle elements of music. But there's also a time and a place for me personally where I can just feel like, okay, I accomplished something with this practice session. I am theoretically faster at this riff. I've moved myself forward a little bit. And sometimes just psychologically getting that forward momentum is really valuable. So you probably know where you are and what you need right now. That was good for me. And then light singing practice, super light, and then did some reading from the Recording Secrets of the Small Studio book. Great book. Was just getting some perspective on why a lot of people sort of miss the analog days of recording, and it's not necessarily all for sonic reasons. It's more just like the slowness of recording things to tape and doing overdubs sort of forced you to think about things deeper. And because there was no screen to use your eyes to gauge what's going on, you just used your ears more, and you made decisions based wholly on that. And I can, I can feel it looking at some of these takes visually and just saying like, oh, it's getting a little close to the limiter right there. I don't know if that's good or not. It's like, well, does it sound right or not? Because at the end of the day, the audience isn't going to be looking at your sound file like, dang, like, he really, pushed that level too hard, They're just listening to the record and it's like, wow, I guess that's how it's supposed to sound, and you either like it or you don't. So, that's just the funny part about that, isn't it? But it's like a deep thing, man. It's really a deep thing. So, just to share a tidbit, actually, Satch said this great thing earlier today. Someone asked in the crowd, what's going through your head before you go out on stage, because there's all these great shots in the film of him heading out on stage, and it's really good behind the scenes footage. And he was like, look, there's really three sort of cliches in the music business that are worth talking about. And one of them is 99% of the job is getting there. And it's kind of true, it's like 99% of the job is getting the record out. If you can get the record out, maybe you got a chance, But if you don't get that part, if the record doesn't make it to the shelves, good luck. Good luck. How else are you going to make money on that record, man? It's just, or how else are you going to get it, whatever your goal is, how else are you going to affect people's lives with that record? I mean, maybe it makes you a better person, and the people you interact with, get a benefit from that. I certainly like to think that. But I think you guys get the point. So this video is going to be so long. But anyway, it's a lot to talk about, a lot to share from today's musical journey. It's kind of nice. What I did after that was, what was my point about that? Oh, just making records slower, forcing you to use your ears. That book is just chock full of great production advice, just killer production advice. So, highly recommended. From there, I got into the production front and was just listening to the track a couple times. I would really encourage you guys to have a monitoring system and a pair of headphones that you like and can trust reasonably, because they just tend to give you different perspectives on things. So I was A-Bing, going back and forth between the headphones and the monitors, and just trying to get some perspective on what I have. And I had comped some things last time and sort of expressed my reservations about that. And I listened back to him and I was like, yeah, that's technically in some ways better, but I just don't like it as much. I just don't like the sound of the comp. I don't like the vibe of the comp. And, this is what you get to do when you're an artist producing your own records. You don't have to tolerate someone being like, we're fucking comping this, plenty. And maybe that's not for the best. Maybe it's for the best, but I get to sit there and just be like, you know what? I want that to sound the way that it sounds, and that's cool. And it's, in some ways, maybe it'd be better to have a producer to be like, yeah, that sounds better, and then I don't have to worry about it. But that's just why it's helpful to have a couple different rigs to listen on. But honestly, some of the vocal takes, they're probably okay. I actually just removed the compression from one of them and the EQ. I just was like, let me just hear how this sounds, as a raw file before I start mixing it and smashing it. And the compressor, there's benefits and there's costs to that. You give something up to get something else. that's just how that goes. So I just wanted to hear the natural take, and I think I mentioned I always compress on, well, not always, but I generally as a practice compress my vocals personally on the way in, and it's not heavy compression, but there's a little bit of compression there, and I'm tracking hearing that, and so there's a part of me that wants to trust, you know, why did I sing it that way? Why did I react in that moment to that? What was I hearing? You know, there must be something there that fits with the track, whether it sounds perfect or not, that I was getting at artistically and expressively. And it's almost like I separate myself as from producer and artist, and I think like I have to trust that artist part of myself as the producer part of myself. I don't just want to go in there and just wreck that and just try to make it my own vision, you know. It's like, it's interesting. So that was cool, and honestly today I'm listening to the stuff and I'm like, you know what, it's probably fine. It's probably fine. I'm sure I could do 1,000 more takes of this stuff, and maybe it would be better, maybe it wouldn't, but I think for now it's just time to move on. So what I did is I just left that stuff just untouched. It is what it is right now, and it's kind of sounding good. It's kind of sounding a little more organic than the way I thought this record was going to go, but you know, that might just be the way that's going to sound. And then I just started doing some bridge stuff, and I just realized like I'm butting too closely up against the end of this session, and I'm kind of pushing my time limits too hard, and I really want to get out of that habit like I've been talking about. That's what makes me late to music sessions, is pushing on those things with other areas. And if I push too hard in the music thing, then that corrupts my downtime and my logistical time, which then corrupts the next thing. It's like a domino effect. So I'm just going to cut the session short, even though it's difficult to do. And my voice, you know, it's still fatigued from, you know, I was really pushing it hard a couple days ago. So I want to give myself a rest. Maybe it's time to refocus on the drums now that those things sound like they're pretty much in shape, and refocus on some horn edits and just getting the part rhythmically edited. I think that's the next step. And then I'll either do that tomorrow, or depending on how I'm feeling vocally, work on the bridge part. But it's definitely time to track the bridge, track the final chorus vocals, and then just start doing the next thing. Honestly, I think it's just time to start picking up the pace and just getting stuff tracked. And I can always come back later and fix it if that's really the name of the game. So that's where I'm at today. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Hopefully this video wasn't too long or I don't know, too anything. And just let me know if you guys have any feedback on anything that I'm talking about. If you were like, no, the video's great, I love the longer talks or something, or wow, you know, like maybe keep it shorter at the beginning and longer at the end, or vice versa. Like, just let me know what you think is the best presentation, because you know, I'm really open to hearing what people like. So I hope you guys are out there grinding towards your goals, enjoying the process. That's what I'm out here doing, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for more. Till then.